500, on my way to a meal, closed over 100 deals. Can't change us. It's the game changers. It's the game changers.
You want to ask yourself every single day, am I doing everything possible to reach that goal? Don't get too far yourself. Stay in the moment, stay grounded, and continue to push every single day.
Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Bryant, and we got a special guest with us today. We got my boy Gibbs in the building.
What's going on, man?
What's good, bro?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm smooth, man. I feel good, man. Like I said, I can't complain, man. Life's good, man, for sure.
I'm glad you're here. So
Yes, sir.
we got a lot to talk about. You know, this was long overdue. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, talk about your upbringing and where you from.
So yeah, man, my upbringing was good, man. It was pretty smooth, man. I'm from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, like the main city in Kentucky. You know, you gotta say that, man, because everybody think Kentucky's just filled with farms and cows and fields and hillbilly stuff. But nah, man, Louisville's like just like a regular city. That's in Kentucky, like Tampa. You know what I'm saying? But a little bit smaller. But upbringing, man, I really can't complain, man. I had a great upbringing. You know, 2 parents. You know, a couple siblings, and really just always had fun as a kid, man. You know, so that's.
Did you have any hustles? Did you play sports?
Yeah, man, I played basketball, man, as a kid, man. I didn't play football, but yeah, really basketball. But of course, man, due to my height, that had to be cut down short, man. Once I got into high school, but hustle wise, man, I always just loved just getting money. You know, whether it was birthdays or whatever, you know what I'm saying. Just anything that involved getting money.
Right.
That involved getting money, man, for real. And one of the craziest things, just about that, bro. Like I remember like telling my grandmother, like she'll still remind me still to this day, like you always talked about you want to be a millionaire. I'm pretty sure now you want to say you want to be a billionaire. So yeah, just really just all about money, bro, and just playing basketball and just running around the neighborhood, you know, just doing little kid stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So, did you go to college?
Yeah, man, I went to the University of Kentucky.
Ooh,
yeah, man,
that's fire.
University of Kentucky, man. But so I went there, spent about 6 years getting a 4-year degree, and it was perfect. It was everything that I needed, and I got my degree in computer engineering. You know, so like I mentioned, spent about 6 years trying to get that degree. You know, it's cool. You know, a little extra 2 years, but yeah, we made it.
So I know you outside of this podcast, so I know that college story.
Yeah.
So I guess this is what we're gonna do to segue into the crypto. So in college, you told me you learned crypto in college.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. So it was 2020. You know,
the pandemic.
The pandemic, yeah, man. The pandemic, man, where Bitcoin was like the lowest I've ever seen it. About 4,000, 5,000, 9,000. You know what I mean? Like I remember at the time, like I had money saved up, and at the time, man, like stuff just didn't make sense at the time. Like if I would have known how much Bitcoin would have been today, back in those days, then I would have just splurged. You know what I mean? But at the time, stacked up like crazy. You know, but at the time, man, I'm still learning. I'm still just understanding like what really crypto is, besides just what it is, just digital money. You know what I mean?
So what was that like first introduction?
Definitely like Bitcoin for sure. Like the first.
But in general, like learning about crypto.
You know, the first introduction was a long time before that.
For real?
Man, there was a movie called Dope. I don't know if you remember that movie.
I don't.
It came out like in 2015, and it was for the people that do know what Dope is, it was a movie that it was like some kids in that movie where it was like all about like dude had to sell drugs and stuff like that. And he was a nerd. Like actually A$AP Rocky's in that movie. Actually, I don't know if you remember it, bro. But they had to start selling drugs on the dark web. So they started talking about Bitcoin then. This is 2015, so Bitcoin had to be a couple thousand even then. You know what I mean? Before that 2016, 2017 run. You know, so that was like my first ever time hearing about Bitcoin. And at the time, I thought it was still fake, like it was
like
cap.
a scam.
You know,
Right.
and it because they talking about it on the movie. You know what I mean? So it all just made sense, man. Then my first introduction to it was definitely like that 2020, like where I'm like, oh, okay, you can really buy this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But really, like when I heard about it, like in 2016, 2017, when it went up, you know, I still wasn't too fond of it. But my first real experience with it was definitely 2020
In college.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. What happened during college with crypto?
Man, it was just a lucky time, man. It was definitely a lucky time, and the reason why I say that is because, like I mentioned, I had money saved up to where, you know, let's invest. You know what I mean? Like people were buying just stuff, just materialistic stuff, like I ain't gonna say watches, but you know, jewelry, MCM bags, just different, just stuff that I just wasn't too fond of, and you know,
Yeah.
and from there I'm like, man, what can I do? I'm about to just buy some crypto, see what I can do with that. There was never not no song, there wasn't no artist, there wasn't nobody that I really knew that was talking about crypto
Mm-hmm.
until it was a guy on Twitter that mentioned, you know, we talked about this, but a guy on Twitter mentioned a cryptocurrency that if you invest $1,000 into it, it's sitting at a cent, you get 100,000 coins. Goes up to $1, which is going to happen soon. You're going to have $100,000. So at first, and like I mentioned, I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
Don't know him from a can of paint
Right.
at all. Don't know him at all. So I'm like, man, what? Like I'm about to do this. Like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like reaching out to him, reaching out to the guy, and he said, "Yeah, man, you can only get this. Only people overseas can get this coin. Nobody in America."
Mm-hmm.
And luckily at the time, I'm such a nerd. I'm like, man, I can get this coin. Watch.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily at the time, man, like I just put my thinking cap on. I just got a VPN, created an overseas Binance account. At this time, they let you do anything. You know,
Yeah.
you got an overseas account. You don't have to do the KYCs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we see that you're in Spain, so yeah, go ahead, let's do it.
Yeah.
And from there, man, I remember being able to send the money, the Bitcoin from Cash App, over to my wallet over there, and made like the transfer, and finally bought that coin. And I was just like, oh yeah, it's up.
I'm in the game
Yeah,
now.
I'm in the game. You know what I'm saying? So
So at that time, how much did you put in?
I was being real humble with it at 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, is this gonna work? It was like $100
Okay.
at first. You know, so like
We college students, so
yeah,
$100 is $100.
Yeah, $100 is like, I'm like, all right, bro. Like if something just don't work out, then okay, I know this ain't for me then. You know.
Right.
So when I did the $100, man, and it went through and I bought it, I was like, okay, cool. Then from there, I'm like, well, I got a couple thousand saved up. Man, I just put in 4,500.
Mm.
You know, and at one big amount, I'm like, oh man, we're in the game, bro.
Right, you really in the game now.
You know, because if he said $1,000 to 100,000, I'm thinking like, so what about 4,000?
4,000, right?
That's gonna be almost $500,000. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those type of situations where I'm just thinking big. You know what I mean? Where people really spending their money. You know what I'm saying? And at the time where everything was cheap. So everybody just spending money just on BS at that time. So yeah.
So now you put that 4,500 in.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? Because markets go up. That could have went all the way down. You could have lost that. So what happened from there?
Man, what ended up happening? So this is August of 2020. At the time, man, I got it in my mind like, yeah, it's gonna go to $1. Like it's gonna do it soon. This is what dude was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up from August all the way to around November is when I seen a 50% loss. I'm went to 4,600 to 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And from there, like, I'm like, man, like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, now I'm like, man, I just lost my money, man. Like, you know, I could sell or I can just keep it in and just say, like, it's either we're going to go to the moon or we're going to go to the grave. Like, it's going to be one or the other. So,
and not to cut you off, but seeing your portfolio go down 50% is a big percentage, especially in college.
Yeah.
So let's not skip over that.
Yeah, let's not,
I
man.
know your heart was beating
Yeah,
fast.
man.
Class, you got things going on.
It was rough, man. I like when I think about it right now, like, cause I can place myself still like in that same position now where I still feel the same way. I can still remember those feelings. I'm like, man, this is just BS. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
it was really like it was really tough at first, but then I always just knew like something just told me not to sell. I wasn't getting no advice from anybody at all.
Yeah.
Like I never bought any more. You know what I mean? I didn't get no advice from nobody because like no, I didn't know nobody that was into this. Only
Yeah.
one person. Which we'll get into.
Mhm.
But yeah, so at that time, man, with being down 50%, I'm like, man, you know what? Like, let's just hold on to it. So around this time, like November was election time,
Mhm.
and from there we seen a nice rally like with Bitcoin. I think I owned some Bitcoin at the time, probably like $2,000 worth,
Yeah.
which was still a nice percentage at the time where Bitcoin was like 9,000.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that was the time where I seen that 2,000 go up to about maybe about my $2,000 investment was going to about almost 10,000.
Mhm.
At the time, I'm like, man, this is going crazy. This is
Yeah.
going crazy. And we still not thinking about the other coin that I was investing into. Like that's just barely going up. You know,
Mhm.
going. I haven't even broke even just yet. And it took for about December, January when I finally broke even. I'm back at
Okay.
my investment point.
Yeah.
You know, and from there, man, I was consolidating, like I was consolidating for a little minute until I started seeing profit. And now I'm like at 12, 16,000.
How long did it get to that point now?
It took like around January,
Okay.
like December, January, like where it kind of started going up, where that 1 cent, like, cause I mean, when I'm at 50% loss, like I'm under a cent, way under a cent.
Yeah.
Then now I'm probably at like 7 cents. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we're getting somewhere. You know what I mean? Like we're getting somewhere, definitely getting somewhere. But it's just at this point, it ain't really nothing.
Mhm.
A lot of people gonna look at like, okay, man, you up 16,000, 15,000, take your money.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that ain't really nothing.
Yeah.
Cause I'm still thinking how dude said
It might go to
to
100.
100,000. You know what I mean? So I'm
And
like,
that's important
yeah,
because I'm glad you mentioned this.
yeah,
Because I put people onto crypto
hmm
that made a couple thousand
yeah,
and then they pulled out.
yeah,
And I'm like, why would you pull out?
right,
This is where you could now double that investment because now you got more money in it.
yeah, exactly.
But you could continue.
Man, like I'm still have that mindset where it's just like, bro, we can still take this to 100,000. Well,
Mm-hmm.
400,000. You know what I mean? And it literally that thought in my mind just came true. You know what I'm saying? It was a random week.
Was it still in like January? Is this now February?
So like now, like February, like I'm at like 20 about 30,000, but it still just wasn't enough to me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why. At the time, I don't know why, bro, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough until that random week, man, in March. It was the most, literally started off on a Monday. It was just random. Random Monday morning, waking up, my portfolio was at 80K. Like 6 in the morning, 80K. Go to sleep. Tuesday morning, 150. Wednesday morning, 200, 220, 225. Thursday. At this point, bro, it's going up every day by the 100 almost. You know what I mean? Certain time one go up to 120.
This
You
shit
know what I
is
mean?
crazy.
So at the time, like, bro,
Yeah.
it was by far one of the most like craziest things that I've ever witnessed at the time. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, like I'm at like by like Friday, Saturday, where however much I was at was about 400. I'm just like, yo, hold on. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense to me. I'm like this is what I've been asking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember like trying to put my friends on like to this coin as well, man. Like they didn't really get onto it until like it was starting to explode. So they giving
Mm-hmm.
me money to put in my bag. Then you know what I mean? Then like they probably made a couple $100, probably a couple thousand, but they weren't making as much as I was making at the time. So
Yeah.
so it was definitely one of the most craziest things I've ever witnessed because every single morning I'm waking up like at 5 in the morning out of my sleep, and I'm seeing like plus 90,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I
It's,
mean?
it's like, and I want to talk about this later, but since we on the topic now,
Yeah.
you know, with the XRP,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you and Peter, y'all been telling me this since last year.
Yeah.
Put your money here. Put your money here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my money in the bank at this time.
Yeah.
And the bank is seeing how much I got. They're saying, you know, get an investment with them. So I put 20,000 in the investment. Within a couple months, I look at that investment. It's only at $200, right?
Yeah.
I took 13,000 out, put in XRP. Within probably like 2 to 3 months, now Trump gets in office, it was shooting up just like that.
Just like that.
But 5,000, 8,000,
Yeah.
10,000,
Yeah.
to where it 5x
Yeah.
within that short time. So I kind of feel what you
know
feeling,
what I
but
mean?
it's crazy when it goes up from that little bit to being damn near next to 6 figures.
Man, exactly. It's like one of those to where it's just like we talking about digital money. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing physical that we gotta do. You know what I mean? So it was it made me believe
Yeah.
that like, oh, this is for real. You know what I mean? And I remember I ended up having a conversation with that same dude that who talked about it on Twitter. Like I was up big, but he was up big. Like you know what I mean? And like if you ever get a chance to watch this, he's gonna know who I'm talking about. A dude named Vaughn. You know what I mean? So like yeah, man. Like it was definitely a crazy time, bro. And
So the question I have for you is, did you drop out?
nah, I didn't drop out, man. I didn't drop out. At the time, I was almost considering. I was definitely. I'm not gonna say almost. I was definitely considering it because at the time, like I was very big headed. At the time, like I'm like, man, I got more money than my professors. You know, I could be lying because you know professors make a lot of money, but I'm like, man, I can go buy a Rolls Royce if I want to, or a Corvette. I can do whatever at this time. But
College,
yeah,
6 figures is crazy.
you know what I mean? Like it was. Oh man.
And it didn't come from like inheritance or nothing. This is from you following the play that somebody put online.
Man, for real, bro. Like literally. So nah, I didn't drop out, man. The reason why I didn't drop out was because Peter J. Scott. He definitely
Shout out to Peter.
yeah, shout out to Peter, man, because he definitely he was definitely a good. I mean, that's like my big brother, but definitely a good mentor, man. Like he still is a good mentor to me, man. He told me, he said, man, I know how you feel. Like first 100K I seen, man, I wanted to do X Y Z. He said, man, bro, just stay focused. Just get this degree, stay focused, bro. Like everything's gonna work out. And you know, because of him, man, I ain't gonna lie, a big shout out to Pete. You know, because of him, he one of the main reasons why I still got my degree. And, you know, and still been able to thrive off crypto. So yeah.
So now after that college, I know that all that excitement, you got your degree, you got some money.
Yeah.
What was those next steps?
Man, so those next steps was moving down here to Florida. You know, I realized that I couldn't really stay in Kentucky. Like I done outgrew being in Kentucky at the time, and I knew that moving to Florida would have helped me, you know, be able to thrive in just different areas of my life. So that was at the next step up, and of course I got into corporate America, and because I was into cybersecurity, and so once I did that, made that move, got a job offer before I moved, and made that move. Man, it was like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? So that was next after college for sure.
So you're working this job, still doing crypto. Are you putting money aside for crypto, like with working the job?
Man, luckily at the time, a little bit, but not as much as I could. Because, I mean, when you work in a job, especially that's entry level, you're not really making as much. I mean, you doing enough as you can for sure. But luckily, with the money that I made from how much that I profited from, I was able to understand that it's good now to diversify. You know, take your profits, then put it into different other projects. So there was, you know, like you mentioned with XRP, like I put 6 figures in the XRP. Like people wouldn't believe me. Like I'm telling them like I'm $150,000 in the XRP. You know what I mean?
Hold on, cause I put 13 and I know what I made.
You feel me?
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Damn.
yeah, like I mean, even a funny story with that, bro. There was a time where I asked Peter. I said, man, do you think I should put like 50,000 XRP? I would have did that a long time ago. When he said that, I literally made that transfer, sold like the coin that I had, bought $50,000 XRP right then and there. Sent him a screenshot. I'm like, I guess we twins, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it was like that, bro. It was
lit.
Yeah, man.
Big shout out to Peter because he was telling me
Yeah.
too, bro. Y'all both was on my back on that, like
Yeah.
invest in XRP, invest. Yo, Gibbs, what's y'all invest? XRP.
Yeah, man.
XRP.
Yeah, for sure.
And it took me a while to, jump off that ledge, but I'm glad I did at that
Yeah.
right time.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate
man.
that, bro.
That's what we're here for, man. That's definitely what we're here for, bro. So yeah. So coming down here, you know what I mean. I was glad that I made those adjustments, you know, because I mean, ultimately, like that coin, like I mean, it went down. So like, luckily, I sold all of it, like. I don't own none of that coin no more, but luckily, like I sold a lot of it and put it in different areas. So to me, it felt like I'm kind of set. You know what I'm saying? I'm set for life because I was luckily I was smart enough to know that like once you see something going down, like take your profit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, man. But yeah, just moving forward with that, I didn't really get back into investing until like towards the end of like 2023. You know what I mean? Because I was starting off like with my new platform. I wouldn't say platform, but I guess like my new group, my rich crypto friends, and I was able to make money, you know, every month, or even doing consultation calls or crypto gym lists, you know, selling stuff like that, and being able just to, I guess you could say, dollar cost average into different coins and stuff like that. So it wasn't as big as me just spending $50,000 in the XRP just off top in one day real quick, but just definitely making those smaller investments because I mean ultimately as time goes on it's just gonna add up. So
For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know you do land too, but before we get into that, how did we get connected, or how did you hear about me?
Man, so so Peter asked me to come to this event, this real estate masterclass that was hosted by Chris Mills.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris,
Another
man.
game changer.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Chris. And what ended up happening with that was I was out the night before. I was out till late that night, like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I was intoxicated. And he said, yeah, bro, we're still gonna go. I'm like, all right, cool. So mind you, out that next morning. It was a very early event. I don't know if you remember how early it was. It was like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 8-9 o'clock. And luckily, man, I was able to still get up at the time and make it to the event. And it was about like a 2-3 hour event. I think like 3 hours. And you know what Chris Mills teaches, it was a great event. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm gonna get into wholesale houses. I think I like that. And at the end, me and P, we were talking. He said, man, I really didn't come here for the event. And no shade to Chris Mills. I don't think he was saying that the event was off, but nah, he said, man, I didn't come here to for the event. He said I came here to shake hands with this one person, with this one dude. So I'm thinking in my mind, I said, so we came here, sat down for 3 hours just for us to shake hands with one guy and end up being this guy.
Oh shit.
Ended up being this guy. So I remember he said, no, we ain't about to leave just yet. We about to wait for him to come back. I think he just went to the restroom.
I remember I went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then when I was coming back, seeing y'all in the hallway.
Yeah, in the hallway, yeah. And he stopped you and we spoke and literally like introduced ourselves to each other. Then we left.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, a couple of days went by. I guess like we all followed each other. Then I mean, honestly, man, from there, like the rest was just history. You know what I mean? Because I remember he was saying that So yeah, like he lives in my building, like he does this and that. He focuses on land and you know like what Peter does, you know, he does a lot with luxury neighborhoods or luxury homes and stuff like that. So yeah, so it all made sense. You know what I mean? So it ended up being like one of those where it's just like damn, we just to shake hands with somebody, but it ended up being so strategic because that's what he does. Like,
Yeah.
that's what people don't understand that P is a very strategic guy, and everything he does is all based on strategy. So yeah, that's how it all started.
That's dope.
Hmm.
So, did you get the course? Did you join the free class?
Yeah, man.
Like, what were those steps like?
Yeah, man. So I ended up buying the course, spending that 1,000, you know, and yeah, man, like we took action quick, you know what I mean? And it was everything in the course, like I mentioned to you before, is very detailed. It's a great course, you know what I mean? And like you laid it out perfect, you know, like from start to finish. And I remember attending some of your master classes. I mean, your webinars, you know, things of that nature. And I'm like, man, this is much easier than it would be like with flipping homes. You know,
Yeah.
it made a whole lot of sense to do land instead of doing homes. You know, so instantly like me and Peter like we got onto it real quick. You know, so that's how that all started as well.
How was your first deal?
First deal was actually crazy, man, because we were in um, we were in North Carolina, and the first deal, the way it all happened was it's still strange to me, but it's just like it was crazy, and it was really based on networking.
Mm.
Um, I ended up coming across a builder. Well, to my knowledge, I thought he was a builder, and he ended up being the general manager of what is the company called? I can't think exactly what the company is called. I don't know why, but I ended up meeting him out in North Carolina, and when I met him out in North Carolina, he ended up taking me to dinner and stuff like that. We had a great conversation, and he focuses on just manufactured housing, and that's all like that his company does. Man, it's gonna bother me if I can't think of what their company's name is, but once Clayton Homes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard of
Clayton
them
Homes.
too. That's why.
Yeah, Clayton Homes.
Yeah.
So Clayton Homes. So like at the time, I'm not really knowing who Clayton Homes is, and you know on PropStream it says like they have like 300 million like in their portfolio,
Yeah.
and you know we spoke about that. Like me and him, we spoke about that, and he said, "Do you know who we're owned by?" I said, "Nah." I said, "We're owned by Warren Buffett,
Mm.
Ber- Berkshire Hathaway. That's who we're owned by." So nah, it's way more than 300 million. We're talking about billions.
Billions. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, he was just basically just telling me like what all that they look for and stuff like that. And that weekend of me just being out there, because he wanted me to come out there, so I'm like, okay, I'll just come out there and we'll just talk, you know. So I'm not thinking too much of it. And that day, actually no, the next day we ended up riding around, me and him, for about 2 hours in the car, and like we're in like an area where it's just nothing but like mobile home parks and just run down. But to him, that's a gold mine because they're willing to take older mobile homes and just scrap them and put a manufactured home on top of it. So that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the time, I like that 2 hours of me and him driving, just talking. He's like, man, you know, we can make a lot of money out here, XYZ. So I'm like, okay. Then literally that day, there was a guy who I just ran into because I'm just driving around the city, just having a great time, just looking at the scenery, and I just ended up talking to this older guy. And I said, yeah, man, I'm just out here looking for real estate, and you know, he's like, yeah, I got something out here as well. So as I'm leaving, I'm getting into the car. I'm sitting in my car for about 5 minutes, and he flags me down. He's like, hold on, wait. There's actually like a lot that's like right next to me that's for sale.
Mm.
He said, if you want to follow me over there, I can show you real quick. So like to anybody, I mean, that can be skeptical.
Yeah.
You want to follow me, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So what we end up doing is I end up following him over there. It was like a nice big size lot that was like in the same type of environment slash like area that me and the guy were just driving around in, you know, and I'm like, man, this is perfect. Had the lady's number and everything, so I ended up reaching out to her, and I ended up like trying to get more details about it, and I ended up passing that along to this general manager guy. So like, I guess you could say he is a builder, and you know, and you know, he looked into it, and from there it was one of those situations where I still wasn't 100% knowledgeable about just land flipping and everything. I wasn't all the way there just yet. Like how
This is still your first deal. This is still you in the learning process.
Learning process, yeah. You know, just understanding like what to look for and stuff like that. And for a while, it was like a little bit of back and forth between like just me and him, then also me and her, to where she would contact me like any updates and X, Y, Z. You know, until there was a day where he called me. He said, I already have, because I don't think he was going to buy it himself or like his company. He said it was somebody else. I already have everything set up. Just get it under contract and send it over. And I was just like, all right, cool. I think she wanted like 55, I believe, at the time. And he was able to get it sold for 66. So the way he just had it all set up, and I mean, I used your template, you know, your wholesale template, and I had her fill it out, and from there it was just, that's all I needed to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So from there I got it under contract and sent it over, and he had the whole attorney set up because North Carolina is attorney based instead of title company based. Then from there, made 11,000. I'm just like, that's all I had to do, like, you know what I mean? So it was easy work like that, man. So that was like my first deal, making 11,000. Yeah,
and that's straight off of just networking, bro.
Yeah.
Just telling somebody what you do. He brought you to the fish.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was put the play together.
Literally, yeah.
Damn.
And he didn't have to do that, man. Like he mainly was just like, because he wanted it himself, but it was four lots that was placed into one, to where, you know, he at the time he could have did 3 mobile manufactured homes on the lot itself. You know what I mean? But I don't think it would have been able to get passed through as far as like, you know, septic tanks, you know, things of that nature. So yeah, like it was just crazy. Like I still remember that call. He was, man, DeAndre, got somebody who would buy it for 66. Get it under contract, send that contract to me, then we'll get it all set up. Then literally, you know, it was as simple as that. So
that's it.
So yeah, that was it.
It's lit, bro.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because now what we're teaching in the academy is to flip land and buy crypto.
Yeah.
So is that what you did with that profit, or you put it back into the business?
Practically, well, really kind of both. You know what I mean? Put it back into the business, but also like really put like my money like into crypto as well, because it's just like, I'm not necessarily looking at it as like a free 11,000, but that's like money to flip. Like I'm not about to splurge. You know what I mean? Like I always tend to have that same mindset from 2020. Like, okay, I can go buy this or buy that.
Or
you know,
leave it here and it could grow.
Plain and simple.
All you have to do is hold it.
That's all you have to do, man.
All you have to do, man.
You feel me? So it's like one of those situations where it's always going to be about your mindset in that situation. You know, like if you want something smaller or you want something that's big. So that's how I had to look at it for sure. Yeah.
So what would you say to your 18-year-old self if you had to go back? Like, with knowing what you know now, how would you coach your 18-year-old self?
Man, my 18-year-old self, was still very ambitious, like how I am today. And basically would tell him that you don't necessarily need a degree to become whoever it is that you want to become. You know, if it doesn't fit your vision. You know, like I graduated with an engineering degree doing cybersecurity. Now I don't do that no more.
Word.
You know what I mean? And like, and that's not necessarily to say that like going to college is a scam, but also it's, you have to think about it in an aspect where what it is that you want out of life, because certain things isn't going to match your vision. Like I never seen a salary worker become rich.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get rich. I can't do that with a salary. You know what I mean? So So what I'll tell my 18-year-old self, you know, just keep on believing in what you want to do, because a lot of people didn't believe in what I was trying to do, and man, just and forget what everybody else is saying, man. And at certain times, you really got to be hard headed. You know what I'm saying? In aspects like this, just to believe in your own self, because you're always gonna have somebody that's gonna say, "Nah, you shouldn't do that." You know what I mean? So
Somebody's always going to steer you to the easier route
yeah,
rather
definitely every
than
time.
something that's going to challenge you.
Man, every single time, man. So I always think about the giants, man. Elon, Jeff Bezos, you know, Bill Gates, then Steve Jobs, you know, people like that. That it's just like they had to start somewhere, you know what I'm saying, just to get to where they at. And ultimately for me, it's like I'm not a person who's just going to just easily just give up, especially if I believe in it. But also it got to make sense at the end of the day too. So that's what I tell my 18-year-old self, man. Keep pushing every single time, and just remember, like, if you believe in it, that's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, any last words for the viewers?
Man, any last words for the viewers? Should I give them some game?
Give them some
Give
game,
them some
man.
game. We about to go. Well, we in 2025, you know, and the best thing that I tell you to do is invest in the crypto. Don't think that it's a scam, because you have governments that's into it. You have big banks. You got asset managers that's getting into it. Buy XRP, buy XLM, buy HBAR. The list can go on forever and ever. But if you want to learn more, either you can join EDB Academy, or you can join My Rich Crypto Friends, or you can just join both, where you can learn how to flip land, learn how to buy crypto, and 100 extra money, 1,000 extra money if you really want to. But yeah, man, just do that. But ultimately, keep on doing what you're doing. It's always gonna work out at the end.
Real shit.
Yes, sir.
And in the academy, every other Tuesday, we're going to have Gibbs come on and we're going to talk about crypto together. So make sure y'all tap in with us.
Yes, sir.
If you want the plan on how to flip land, you know where to come. Game changer.